Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Jay and welcome to the channel and welcome to the new Dominion Biosyn expansion for Jurassic World Evolution 2. I'm sorry, I know I'm a bit late to the party. It's been a few days since the expansion dropped. I just wanted to play through the whole DLC plus the challenge mode and stuff like that. There's been a lot of new updates to the game, so I just wanted to really dive in and just kind of enjoy it without really recording because I thought it would just be fun to do that sort of stuff. And, I tend to record only Sandbox stuff anyway, so it was very, kind of like what my plan was from the beginning was just to play the game first and then later on really delve into Sandbox, which is what we're going to be doing today with the start of our brand new biopark. Now, I do have a biopark currently already running, which is Germany Emergent Biopark. I don't know if I'm going to continue that. I might, but this new map is beautiful, and I thought, you know what, let's do something here, which will be a lot of fun, I think. Loving the new building set, the Biosyn set is great. I wish it was more complete. I wish we had stuff for, more different buildings, more guest facilities and stuff to really flesh out what we could really do with this set. But otherwise, I think it's great. The whole DLC has been quite lovely. I really enjoy a lot of the new feathered animals, especially I think are really, really great. I love the new Therizinosaurus. I think that's beautiful, really, really gorgeous animal. The Pyroraptor, fantastic, but I cannot get over how ugly its face is. I'm sorry, that's not a Frontier thing, that's just a Jurassic World design thing, which it's happened before where, the body of the animal would be great, but then they try and make the animal look far too menacing with the face, and then it just ends up looking a bit cartoonish. But with the Frontier skins, it's a huge improvement, and the Pyroraptor looks really, really fantastic. But yeah, I hope all of you are doing well. I know I haven't put out videos in a while. I am currently kind of struggling to make videos. It's just, there's a lot going on in my life at the moment. I'm moving house soon. Work's been really intense. Not bad intense, just really busy. And to be completely honest with you, I've been creatively a bit stuck with videos for a while. So it might be a while before they're fully back to normal, but I of course still enjoy playing these games and I still want to make videos for them. It's just will take a little bit more time. So I do thank you for bearing with me and being patient while all my other series are currently, on the back burner, but we'll try and get going with everything as we go forward. And speaking of this, by the way, of course the Biosyn DLC is based off Dominion, and I watched Dominion I think the day after it premiered. And I have thoughts about it. I'm not going to spoil anything. I liked a lot. Well, I wouldn't say I liked a lot of it. I liked quite a few elements of it. I didn't like a lot of it as well, I gotta be honest. But it was definitely quite a lot better than Fallen Kingdom. I really didn't like Fallen Kingdom, but I like this one quite a bit more. I'd say this one's kind of on par with how much I like the first Jurassic World. And if you want to know my total ranking of all the movies, I'd say Jurassic Park is obviously going to be the highest. It's like miles above all the others. And then Jurassic Park 3 and The Lost World are kind of tied for second place. I actually really like Jurassic Park 3. I know a lot of people are a bit, not so keen on it, but I personally really love it. And then after that would be kind of Jurassic World and Dominion. Both of those movies kind of tied for the next spot. And then way, way below is Fallen Kingdom. I still cannot stand that movie. But Dominion was alright. I think I liked a lot of the concepts they introduced. A lot of these really interesting, quite interesting ideas with genetic power. I wish they'd explored that more. I like some of the new characters. They were really cool, particularly Mamadou Athie. I think he's a fantastic actor. I really liked him in Archive 81 on Netflix, if you've seen that. I much prefer I wouldn't say I prefer the podcast. That's a whole different story, actually. I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, Mamadou Athie, great actor. I liked Kayla Watts as well, the new character who's played by DeWanda Wise. Really great. Mamadou Athie is actually voiced a bunch of lines for the game for this DLC, which I thought was really cool because I really liked his character. I also really like Louis Dodgson coming back, played by Campbell Scott. Really, really great character. A nice understated villain who really kind of feels like one of those tech billionaires that we have nowadays, like, the ones that I'd rather not name, but who are not the greatest of people. Yeah, so I really like the new characters. Having the legacy characters back was fantastic. Ellen Grant, Ellie Sattler, Ian Malcolm, they were fantastic in the movie. I still do not care at all about Owen or Maisie, the clone girl. I'm sorry, I just cannot care for their characters. They're just boring. Maisie she's a bit more interesting in this one. So I'll give Maisie some credit there. She's definitely done a bit better in this movie. Owen is still boring as anything. Claire is still like, I always thought Claire had the most potential for a really good character arc. Her character arc doesn't change an awful lot in this movie from what we've seen before, but it's still a solid arc, and I still, Bryce Dallas Howard's still solid in her role. It's just, Owen just bores the tears out of me. It's just, I can't say more than that. The dinosaurs were very cool in the movie. They weren't as prominent as I thought they'd be. In fact, if you've seen the trailers, and if you watch a lot of the trailers, you will see kind of all the major scenes with the dinosaurs. Really, one thing I liked is a lot of the dinosaurs felt more like animals in this one. Even the big theropods, like the Giganotosaurus, is the main kind of so-called villain dinosaur, and I still think it worked out really well. Like, it felt more like an animal, though it didn't feel like a villain, which is really weird because they kind of treat it like one, and that's one of the weird things about the movie that I didn't like. But the animal itself felt like an animal, and that was okay. So yeah, and the fact that there's feathers in the movie I think is solid as well. A lot of interesting dinosaur species. We have like Moros, for example, really cool little small tyrannosaurid. Hope we get that in the game at some point. I know we're missing a few dinosaurs from the movie, like a Trophoraptor. The Trophoraptors I didn't really care for that much. They weren't super interesting in the movie. They just acted like, the standard raptor chasing down the good guys kind of vibe. Is not as interesting as some of the other animals, but it was a weird exclusion from the game. Like, the fact that we don't have the Atrociraptors in the DLC, I think it's a bit weird. But the DLC itself, I think, represents the movie pretty well. We've got these two beautiful new maps. We've got this one especially, which I really, really love, which is the Dolomites Sanctuary, which I love the forest textures, the new foliage, the new ground textures. Everything just is so brilliantly done. And all these new infrastructure mechanics, like this invisible fencing you see me put down here. Really lovely stuff, including the hyperloop and stuff like that. So well done. So while I've ranted about Dominion for the past few minutes, just final note, I'd say, solid, fun action movie. You're not gonna get anything quite like the first few Jurassic Park movies, but it's still an enjoyable time, I think. Just gotta switch your brain off a little bit at some point, but otherwise it's still pretty fun. That's my final note on the movie itself. The DLC itself, I think, is pretty fun. I've been really enjoying a lot of it. This campaign is pretty fun. The new Chaos Theory I really like because it introduces a cool new rustler mechanic, which you have to defend your dinosaurs against these poachers that are coming in. Oh, by the way, on screen you see my game crash, and I had to. If your game is crashing or glitching out, it's because of the new NVIDIA driver. Just roll it back to the previous driver, and you'll be all good to go. Which is what I did here. Yeah, the DLC I think is really solid, and what we're doing here today, which I should have been talking about from the start, is building a new biopark like our other ones. Not so much focused on trying to get as accurate as possible within the game mechanics. This one is just kind of more for fun and just to see, we're still going to try and get to, use the more accurate versions of animals that we have in the game. For example, we'll use, of course, the feathered Tyrannosaurus. Well, Tyrannosaurus being feathered is a whole different thing. They're probably not particularly feathered, but some fuzz is still nicer to have, I think. If you've seen Prehistoric Planet, which I was gushing about non-stop for a while, that kind of Tyrannosaurus adult had some feathering on. So, for example, that's what we would use in this park. In this habitat here, we're going to use some Dreadnoughtus, the new Parasaurolophus, which is beautiful, easily one of my favorite hadrosaur designs in the game. We're going to use some Triceratops, a small Triceratops hood, a Homalocephali hood. They're not going to stick to formations or time periods, but, try and get something that feels aesthetically like it works pretty well and, still comes together pretty nicely. And we're going to have free-ranging pterosaurs in the park, which you'll see in just a bit. We actually released a bunch of, was it Sunguripterus? It might have been. No, it wasn't Sunguripterus. It was Geosternbergia. So you'll see that in just a second when we hop into the live play. So yeah, I will see you guys in just a sec in the live play section of this video. Okay, so here we are in our biopark, our new Dolomite biopark, which I quite like. Here is the arrival point, and as we walk forward, we have a lovely little, ignore the multiple dinosaur sets. Have a lovely little Spinosaurus skeleton here, and tour. None of this is finished by any means. It might change quite a lot. The whole park, I think, is going to be more of a safari-based park, so not going to have as many amenities or viewing galleries. A lot of it is going to be focused primarily on the habitats and on how guests like kind of traverse through the habitats in various vehicles. And one new thing about this park now, I really like, is the fact that we have now got free roaming pterosaurs. I should phrase that differently. We don't have free roaming pterosaurs like in the game. What I've just done is had pterosaurs in an aviary. I let them break out and then reset their settings so that they're comfortable. Here's a Geostembergia hanging out on our thing over here. Obviously not the most realistic thing. I imagine this would be kind of dangerous. But like, think about zoos where you have like pelicans hanging around, you know, like kind of stuff like that. And you know, guests are kind of like, you'd expect them to be kind of smart enough to not try and mess with them so they don't get pecked. But when it comes to big pterosaurs, I don't know, maybe it is a bit dangerous. But you know, we'll have them free roaming. Maybe we'll even have the Quetzalcoatl free roaming, though I feel like that might be pushing it out a bit. I love this habitat. I think it looks gorgeous. The Dreadnoughtus are beautiful. I love these new Dreadnoughtus models. They're really nice. Why are you standing there? Like, you're just standing so weirdly right now. Oh, the other one's head is in the ground. Okay. I think they're pretty, like, they're really nice looking. There are some issues with them I'm not super fond of. For example, the head looks a little bit weird. Like, I'm always going to prefer some other designs. Like, the Dreadnoughtus in Prehistoric Planet is something else entirely. Like, that is on another level. But these are lovely for what we have in the game. Miles better than the version that we got in the base game. I do wish we had multiple skins and colors and variants for this, but unfortunately we just are limited to this. The tail's a bit funky. I love how long the tail is, but unfortunately it's rigged a bit weirdly, so you get these like kind of jolty, kind of like weird position. Like right now it looks great. This movement here is fine, but sometimes it angles a bit weirdly and it looks kind of like stilted. But otherwise really good. Got a bunch of Triceratops just hanging around, doing the thing. I think Triceratops is one of the best showcases of how far the texture work has improved from the last game. It looks really, really good. And just show some random skins here that look quite nice. It is so cool just seeing pterosaurs in the background like flying around in the habitat. I really like that. So I think there's going to be a theme that we keep for the most of the park. I might just stick with Geostenbergia, might release a few other species, but I think it looks really good. The new Parasaurolophus from Dominion, some of my favorite hadrosaur designs in the game. She is a beauty. Look at that. Like, that skin right there is so gorgeous. And I put in the brown version as well so we can have some dimorphism. I wish they spent more time on all fours, but otherwise they are beautiful and I really, really like them. Really, really solid designs. We of course have a bunch of Homalocephali here as well, which are very tiny little guys, and they're kind of all over the place. I'm just gonna scroll through them until we find the one with the... So half of them have a skin pattern I really like, which is a dark blue with the white stripes. Yeah, these two. Oh, they're so cute. But yeah, I love this skin pattern. It's just so classic, works so well for the Homalocephali. And they work really well as a small dinosaur species that just hangs out in this much larger environment. Oh, it looks like it's rolling around in the vegetation. That worked out so well. Speaking of the vegetation, this map has gorgeous vegetation, so beautiful. Logs, we have logs, mossy boulders, all the trees are covered in moss and lichen, and oh, so great. Just loving this forest. And if I'm not mistaken, we can even go in a first person, like walk through the forest. Yeah, and it doesn't stop us at all. Look at that. Look, mossy rocks. Oh, and a dinosaur. Let's hide the UI. That is beautiful right there. And it gets misty. Oh, look at that. That is so cool. I am such a fan of this. This is such a cool vibe. I love it. Look at this log. So nice. And yeah, I'm just a really big fan of this habitat as a whole. I think it looks nice. I'm looking forward to doing more habitat work as opposed to facility work. I think it looks a lot more... I mean, it's just more fun to work with nature than it is to work with buildings, I think, sometimes. Of course, I do like working with the buildings, and we have some really cool new buildings, which we'll check out in a second, but this looks really good. A lot of the Sunguripters, a lot of the Geostenbergia hang out on these rocks here by the water, which is really nice. I put in two different skins. This is the one I chose for the males, which I think looks really nice. Love this coloration on the head. And yeah, they kind of hang out on the rocks. They don't go very far. They're going to be perpetually marked as a threat. There's a couple which live over here, and they don't seem to like ever go away, so they might have made this their territory, which is okay. There's one up here on this thing, which is quite cool. I really like how that looks. And off he goes. Just don't seem to mind. I think they do run away from them sometimes. But yeah, that's so cool. I love just having the pterosaur free roaming. It's annoying that we have to live with the notification that they're a danger to guests, but otherwise, I really like this. Oh yeah, they did. All the guests are fleeing in terror. Come on guys, this is fine. He's just a little Zeustonbergia. He's just a little guy. He isn't gonna do anything. Ooh, and there's the other one. So cool. And there he goes, landing on this container. Which one are you landing on? I love that he lands on all this stuff too. It's so cool. Amazing. What gorgeous animals. But yeah, that is the kind of facility area over here. As you can see, I made this kind of nice little pattern. I really love the new Biosyn facilities. I like how kind of like, it's like almost like a, you know, like a modern tech campus, you know, like if you go to something like where what you'd imagine for like Google headquarters or something like that, you know, or like a big genetics company in a science park somewhere. They all look a bit like this. So I think it ends up looking really, really cool. Of course, both our vehicle areas are all here. They can just drive out this way, go out here, and then into the wider park. Yeah, really nice buildings. The only thing I was a little bit annoyed with is that, so in the past game and in a lot of the base game buildings, whenever you add an upgrade to the building, it adds on another pretty chunky component to the building. When you add an upgrade to this, it just adds on another air conditioning unit, which I find really funny. It just happens to all of them. That's why we have 2 air conditioning units, is because we added 2 upgrades, which is just like, okay, you upgrade your building to have like incredibly advanced scanning and stuff like that, and the visual aspect of this is like, oh yeah, we need more air conditioning. But yeah, that is it for today's episode. Hope you all enjoyed it. I know I'm really, really slow on the channel at the moment. I do apologize. I will unfortunately stay like that for a bit of a while. Hopefully with the new Planet Zoo DLC coming out, I'll be a bit more inspired as well to do some stuff. But yeah, it's a bit of a rough patch for me with how much I've got going on. Otherwise, I'm doing alright, so don't worry. It's just a lot of stuff. I hope you're all doing really well. I hope that you're all having, you know, a good time in life. I am so grateful for all your support all the time and for all your comments and stuff. So yeah, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.